Hello and welcome to the Corona Yoga Challenge. Today is day 41. Do check my website here for health issues and other videos, and do subscribe. I think you press the little bell. I've probably pointed the wrong way. And then you get an update if you want more updates on this on the YouTube upload of these videos. So today we are going to come by starting on all fours. So if you bring yourself so that your legs are comfortable, so do have a mat and do have a bit of extra padding, particularly if you have issues with your hips and your knees, so that they're a little bit softer and more comfortable on the floor. So from here you're going to start by sliding your hips forwards and back. So you can start with a smaller movement, and then as your body begins to warm up, you can start to make the movement of the hips back longer, and let the shoulders come forwards a little as well. So just go with that nice smooth movement over the back, so you're enjoying the feeling of the lengthening through the lower back and the back of the waist as the hips come back. And also as the hips are coming back, you'll notice there's usually a little dropping back of the tummy as the hips come back. And if that doesn't happen naturally for you, then just gently tempt your body to get that feeling of a little drawing back through the tummy. And then you're going to let your body come to nice and even. So from here you're going to take your leg out onto the floor, and you're going to have your foot, I'm just going to move away so you can see, so that you're going to have your foot so that the sole of the foot is coming down and onto the floor, and the outside edge of your foot is more or less parallel to the edge of your mat. One hand's going to come slightly towards the centre, the one on the same side as the bent knee, and then you're going to let your free hand come all the way up and out, so you get a nice stretch out. You can imagine that you're lifting up slightly into that top hand, and keep both feet a little bit active. And then you're going to bring your hand back down to the floor. Your knee is going to come back in, and do take your knee at a lesser angle if that feels better. And then we're going to come to the opposite side. So the leg's going to come out onto the floor. From here, the hand on the same side as your bent knee will come slightly towards the centre, just to make it slightly easier to balance. And then your hand's going to come up, and you're going to lift up and out through the top hand, so you get that nice feeling of lengthening out and the whole body being a little bit active. You're going to bring your hand back and onto the floor. Your knees are going to come back to even. And then you're going to come to your first side again. So you're going to take your leg out towards the side. This time you're going to be on the edge of the foot, so the inside edge of your foot is touching the floor. Hands stay nice and steady in all fours, and you're just going to see if you're happy to float your leg up and away from the floor. You're going to make sure that you're breathing evenly. And then bring your leg back down, fold it back into all fours. Take a moment where you're just noticing how that's felt on your body. And then coming to the opposite side. So first of all, the leg just extends out. So we get that feeling of length through the leg all the way up to the hip. Steady through the hands so we're nice and even. And then you're going to see about floating that leg up again, just out to the side. The shoulders remain quite relaxed. The hands are a little bit active. Your breathing is steady. And then bringing your foot down and onto the floor. And bringing your knee back in, so that we're back in a kind of comfortable all fours position with the knees fairly narrow. You're going to let your hips slide back towards your heels, and you're going to let your head rest into your hands. So you're just going to let the elbows be wide, and you're just allowing your body to soften and become easy on the floor. And then you're going to bring yourself back and into all fours. We're going to tuck the toes under at the back, so you can walk your hands in towards your knees. You're going to lift up with the hips, lift up through the back of the legs. Take your elbows onto your legs or your hands onto your thighs somewhere, so that you can fold forward comfortably. Steady through the feet, and then bend through the knees, lift up through your pelvic floor, up through your tummy, all the way up to the fingertips. And then your hands come down to your heart. Let your breathing settle and relax. And then we're going to come to a standing pose from here. So you're going to bring yourself into a space where you've got a mat in front of you. You're nice and comfortable. You're going to take one foot down and onto the floor. Hands are going to come wide. And then your back leg is going to cross over. So it's either going to cross over and just stay nice and wide, or you're going to have your hand on a little bit of support if you need it. And then you're going to roll your legs together so that possibly that underneath leg is going to roll round the back. So we did this when we were lying. I can't remember what day it was, but there was one day. So that what tends to happen is the hips start to follow round. So can you glue your hips round so we're working into the hip joint? Make sure the knee joint's not doing anything. And then wide, relaxed hand, bend your knees slightly into it. And then press down through the feet to bring yourself up and back to both feet standing and even. And then we're going to do the opposite side. So we're going to take opposite leg up, cross it over, roll it round through the back, and then glue back through the hips so that the hips are facing the short edge of your mat. You're going to bend slightly to come into it. Hands are going to be wide. Shoulders can relax down. Take hand on to support as you need to. And then you're going to undo with your legs. Bring yourself back to standing, back to nice and settled feet. We're going to do one more on each side if it feels good for you. So legs going to step over the other and roll round. Hips are going to be steady and gently dropping down. From here you can bring your hands in towards your heart. Shoulders release down. And if you've done this before, do feel free to wrap your arms into eagle arms as well. And then you're going to take your hands wide, let your legs come out, and come back to standing. And then we're going to come to that opposite side. So leg steps over, wrapping the leg round the other one. The legs or the hips sit down and stay nice and even. Hands release down, shoulders and elbows soften. And then hands come in towards your heart, shoulders release. And then stand into the standing leg, expand out, and come back to standing. Back to nice and settled feet. Easy breathing and just noticing how your body feels right now. We're going to come down to the floor now. So if you want to bring yourself to sitting, so you're going to have your legs out in front, you're going to have your knees bent up just a touch, and then you're going to take your legs as wide as is comfortable for you. So you want to get a feeling that from here you're sitting up and onto the sit bones, and then the thighs are almost rotating out and round this way, which keeps the knees facing up and the feet facing up as well. And then from here you're going to take one hand into the centre and one hand just behind you on the floor. So both hands need to be really, really light. So it might be that you need to have your hands on your leg rather than the floor. If you start to do this, then your arms are doing most of the work, and we really want this to be that movement round through the rib cage. So hands are settled down, you're gently easing yourself around and away from your feet. You're going to bring yourself back to the centre, nice long spine to bring yourself round. And coming all the way to the opposite side. Same thing, lifting up to draw out and round. Nice smooth movement. And then bringing yourself back to the centre. At this point you can choose, do you want to lengthen your legs away from one another? Do you want the legs to become straighter? Do you want the legs to become more bent? So do let your body tell you what it really wants to do. So your body, so really enjoy thinking, yeah, this is how I'd like it to be right now. I'm going to have my hands on the floor again. We're going to do that spiraling round with the tummy. So both hips are staying really glued down onto the ground. We spiral round with the tummy, round with the rib cage. Then maybe the shoulders start to move, and then the back of the neck stays long as it starts to come round. And then bring yourself very, very smoothly back into the centre. And into the opposite side. Same thing, gently move up and round with the rib cage. Then maybe the shoulders. Then maybe the back of the neck. So it's almost like we're starting at the base of the spine with our spiraling, and then we take that spiral higher and higher up through the back of the body. And then bring yourself back to the centre. You're going to bend your knees forwards and you're going to slide your shoulders so you release yourself down towards the floor, and your hands can be just anywhere comfortable for you. Reminds me of tortoise pose that we'll maybe do another day. It's a very fun kids pose. So from here, if you just bring yourself to comfortable sitting. So just however you would be happy and settled. And what we're going to focus on today is that feeling of a nice, full, easy breath. So we're going to be filling up through the tummy and then working all the way up to the collarbones with that feeling of a nice, deep breath in. If you need to go faster than me or slower than me, then absolutely do that. And if you find there's an area of your lungs that just feels a little bit like you don't want to breathe into there, then let it get a little bit softer there. So have the thought in your mind of breathing into there, but you're not doing anything that in any way feels uncomfortable. Almost the most important thing that you can do to look after yourself when you're doing yoga and when you're doing any other part of yoga like breathing is to come back to how you feel, because how you feel is going to tell you more than any book on yoga. It's your guiding light, how your breathing feels and how you feel inside of yourself. So we're going to start by breathing in, and you're going to imagine you're breathing low into your tummy. So for some of you that'll be very low, and so for some of you it might be higher, particularly if you've been feeling a bit anxious or a bit less settled with the experience of, or whatever your life experience is just now. So you're going to breathe into that lower part of your body. You're going to start to fill in and out and into the rib cage. You're going to keep filling up, so eventually you feel like you're filling up all the way up to your collarbones. And then take a breath out. And then again, inhaling low, filling in to the tummy, out into the rib cage. Filling up so you feel like you're really taking all the air in that you can into your lungs and body. And breathe out. I'm going to do one where I'm not talking through it so that I can get a more natural rhythm. And you might be able to see, my clothes probably aren't tight enough, but you might be able to see the movement of the different areas of my body as we breathe into these different areas. And what I did there was, as I breathed right the way up to the top, I had a little tiny pause. So I'll do that one more time. Into the belly, rib cage, all the way up through the lungs to fill right up to the collarbones. Hold for a tiny second and out. So my little challenge for you today, and this might be a really big challenge for some of you, so if it feels too big, let it go. My challenge is for you to think of 3 things that you are enjoying about this unusual phase of life and what we call lockdown, or this kind of social distancing. And it needs to be genuine, so if there's nothing and you're really hating it, then that's okay as well. But for myself, I can say I'm really loving not driving, although today's a driving day to do my parents' shopping. I'm loving not driving. I'm loving the slightly mad, lovely feeling of that I just kind of do things slightly differently. So I kind of have a little bit more flexibility with my time. So I decide, I think I'll go wander around the garden, do some weeding. It's just that really nice feeling of more spaciousness for me, because all the nice things that I normally do aren't there, but actually there's also something nice in not having them, which is that feeling of like, I wonder what I'll do now.
And I'm also enjoying, in some ways, a closer connection with people, although there's that feeling of physical connection, which is completely missing. In other ways, there's a real feeling of profound closeness that I'm really enjoying. And I hope that if you've not got things that you're enjoying out of lockdown, that you might have found a little tiny something you think, oh, well, maybe that isn't so bad. Because I know that kind of freedom thing for a lot of people is really, really tricky. So yeah, seeing if we can find that sense of freedom within a constrained situation. It's a good goal. So I hope you have a day of feeling free, feeling good, and I look forward to seeing you for the next class. Thank you. 16 minutes.